Ed Parker, founder of the American Kenpo Karate system, was an innovator, a teacher, a tournament promoter of the Long Beach Internationals, celebrity instructor to Elvis Presley and many more celebrities, author who wrote many books, and an actor and stunt performer. Ed Parker, who was born in 1931, passed due to a heart attack en route from Los Angeles to Hawaii on December 15, 1990. He was going to Hawaii to spend time there for Christmas with his family. Ed Parker's influence is immeasurable. Notable students: Elvis Presley, Dan Inosanto, who of course studied under Bruce Lee, Benny the Jet Urquidez, who became, many would call, the best pound-for-pound fighter ever, and the actor Robert Culp, who's here at the Long Beach Internationals, as well as Kenpo Karate legend Chuck Sullivan and Kenpo Karate practitioner and actor Jeff Speakman. Here is Ed Parker speaking on his thoughts of fighting.
Around here, grabs you around the neck, same answer could be employed, no matter what. You see? Don't get caught up. Now, but why do we show techniques? Right. We're increasing your vocabulary of motion to see the amount of variables that you have. Because the time will come. None of the techniques we show you are rules, they're ideas. You see, none of the things that we show you might be ever used in the sequence that we show it to you. One of these days, you might use movement number 3 out of technique number 20 and bring it together with movement number 2 out of technique number 2. And you may be able to create your own, sequence of movements because that's what the situation called for at the moment. Okay, and you randomly pick from these. And that's what we're trying to do to you. We're not trying to make robots out of you. We're trying to make individuals out of you. And that's what Kenpo is all about. Is making the art suit to you and what you believe. Let's do some techniques.
Now, Ed Parker would come to the United States mainland in 1953-54 time frame and establish his American Kenpo Karate dojo. One of his most notable students, of course, is Elvis Presley. And it has to be said how important this would, because Elvis would do some of his Kenpo Karate moves in his films as well as on stage. Of course, that just gave a big advertisement for karate in America. The first Long Beach International Tournament was in 1964. And who's at that Long Beach Tournament in 1964? Well, Bruce Lee would be discovered, which would lead to his role in the Green Hornet, playing the character Kato. Think about the influence of this and how what Ed Parker did would just help spread the martial arts to these branches of other people throughout the world. Of course, one of Ed Parker's students was Blake Edwards, who would be the developer of the Pink Panther movies. And this would also help boost karate throughout the whole world as they would see karate in these Pink Panther movies.
Oh, no. They've been contracted to eliminate Mr. Chong.
Who the hell is Mr. Chong?
Mr. Chong. Mr. Chong was recommended by Hong Kong. Gentlemen, fulfill your contract.
For many of you out there, you may have attended a dojo that says the Karate Creed. unknowingly having no idea that that came from Ed Parker. In 1957, he was the one who developed the Karate Creed. And what was interesting is, many of you know that I took Ishiru as a teen for a while. And in the Ishiru book that we were given, we had the Karate Creed. While it is slightly modified, it basically says the same thing as the one Ed Parker has said. I come to you with only karate, empty hands. I have no weapons, but I should be forced to defend myself. My principle is my honor. Should it be a matter of life or death, of right or wrong, then here are my weapons, karate, in parentheses, my empty hands. So many American freestyle karate classes, many other types of karate classes would adopt this. Of course, Ishiru is a Okinawan karate, and Ed Parker's Karate Creed would permeate many, many dojos in America in the 70s and 80s. I have still on occasion found it today in non-Kenpo schools across the country where the Karate Creed is again repeated. One of Ed Parker's biggest insights that has now essentially been proven to be true scientifically is this idea of joining the physical and the mental. Without physical training, mental training would be of little value. While a trained mind enhances physical moves, it is limited in and of itself. Marriage of the mind and body is imperative if success is to be guaranteed in combat. And then finally we get to the place to where, quote, during the superconscious state, the highest level of the spontaneous stage is reached. At this stage, the natural weapons function as if they had a mind of their own, unquote.
And I've been doing it for about 28, 29 years now.
What about your first instructor? What system did you go into? In the
Well,
beginning?
I studied Kenpo, but the man I studied with was an extremely interesting guy because although he had studied from his father and picked up knowledge and swapped it with other people, he came to the realization that much of what was taught in the Orient, though it was very inclusive, wasn't yet rearranged to suit modern day context. So he found that there's a lot of changes needed in order to make it work in our present day environment. And it was because of him that I began to think this way from my early years. Now, when I first started here in the United States and had a lot of traditionalists come in, I was a rebel as far as they were concerned. But you know, it's the guy that comes out in the end that really counts. And being a street fighter myself, I went along with this trend of thought.
So then you went on to your first book, or your earlier books, The Secrets of Chinese Kenpo Karate.
Yeah, those were some of my earlier books, but what I tried to do there was to more or less get people to realize that. And we have circular type punches. And this, you see, formulates more or less the alphabets of motion. But now what happens when we put the two together? Well, when we put one alphabet of motion with another alphabet of motion, they then form a word. Like, for instance, if a punch was to come, this is one alphabet, this is another, and that's another. And when you use one hand, we then make a word of motion. But as you notice, this one hand is my variable throughout. My left hand was, well, I would say that Kenpo is the most updated form of fighter that's geared for the present environment that we live in.
Why so?
Well, that which we do is practical. It's not classical method that you oftentimes see, which would not work on our streets today.
The people we saw demonstrating it at the beginning, I mean, how skilled are they? Where did they find themselves on the hierarchy of
They're
karate?
black belts, but I would say that in Ireland is predominantly Kenpo, more than any other country that there is.
Yeah. How long ago since you brought Kenpo to Ireland?
Well, it was one of my black belts years ago named John Maxwell, who came here to go to college. And he was the one that started. So we have a big, big faction here.
Yeah. How many practitioners in Ireland?
We have some in the audience right. They were the one. Would you say 6,000, 7,000?
Yeah, 6,000, 7,000 people.
I would say that.
Yeah.
One thing I love is reading. And when I'd get extra money as a teen, in particular, I would go to Bobo's bookstore. It was a used bookstore in Spokane, out off of Mission. And I would buy martial art books and magazines. And he always seemed to have an endless supply. New ones were always coming in. And one of the most popular series in the mid 80s was this Infinite Insights into Kenpo. And I still have the volume 2, Physical Analyzation 1 by Ed Parker. The other ones I've loaned and never gotten back. And I also have The Secrets of Chinese Karate by Ed Parker. And what I liked about these books is that they weren't just primers. Primers being the idea that you're just showing a technique and how to do something for Kihon or Kumite or form of self-defense. But instead, they were a lot of written material providing insights onto how to do something as well as why are you doing something. And he would try to give a logical explanation to what we're doing as well. And he even laid out in the volume 2, which I still have, this idea how difficult it is to have a logical sequence and the need for having these different volumes. I ate it all up, and I love these 2 books to this day. It's probably why I haven't loaned them out. Before Ed Parker's passing, one of his most notable students, Jeff Speakman, he would get Jeff Speakman into the movies, facilitated that, got Jeff Speakman into that first film, The Perfect Weapon, which was pretty popular when it came out in 1990, I believe. And Jeff Speakman has become the informal heir to the Kenpo throne. Now he has his Kenpo Karate 5.0 system, which is still, when you see it, you see that it still has a lot of those roots in the original American Kenpo Karate system. Ed Parker, thank you so much for your contributions to the martial arts, and particularly American Karate. Thank you to the Kenpo stylists and all that has brought the martial arts world. Thank you so much.